What's up, troops? How's it going? Welcome back to a new video. We are discussing my time in the British Army from when I transferred from the Royal Artillery to the Household Cavalry Regiment and why I did that. I served from 2006 to 2022. I joined the Army at the age of 16, going through the Army Foundation College, Harrogate. I then went and completed my Phase 2 training down in Larkhill at the School of the Royal Artillery. And then I served from 2008 till 2017 in 7th Parachute Regiment, Royal Horse Artillery, 7 Power HA, or others may call it 7RHA. While I was there, I did multiple postings, multiple courses. I was lucky enough to go from Phase 2's training straight into the fire support teams within the Royal Artillery, which doesn't always happen. A lot of the time, and especially back in the day, they liked you to serve on the gun line or in the CP and then possibly transfer over to the fire support teams if they believe you have the capability to serve in there. Normally, I'd like to say it's the smarter and fitter guys that serve within the FSTs, but guys within 7 are all extremely fit anyway, being an airborne unit. While I was there, I managed to go all the way up to level 3 OPAC. Deployed on many overseas exercises, deployed on many exercises within the UK, did a posting down at 14 Regiment RA where I gained a lot of experience as well, and then I was lucky enough to serve as a section commander at ATR Purbright, turning civilians into soldiers through adult entry basic training, which is now called the Soldier Academy. While I was at Purbright is when I put my transfer into the Household Cavalry Regiment. Why did I transfer to the Household Cavalry Regiment? Those that don't know, the Household Cavalry Regiment was actually my number one choice when I was first looking to join the army. So when I put the application in at 15 years and 3 quarters, Household Cavalry Regiment was number one. Royal Artillery wasn't actually even on there. It was Recce Mech and Vehicle Mechanic from Narimi. I went down the careers office. Why do you want to serve in Household Cavalry Regiment? You're going to be doing ceremonial first, and then at some point you're transferred over to the reconnaissance side. I didn't want to do the ceremonial side. I wanted to just serve in operations. I just wanted to do the soldiering stuff. I wanted to do the ceremonial later on in life. Talked me out of it. Went to the assessment centre, passed all the maths exams and everything to be a recce mech or a vehicle mechanic. I wanted to go Harrogate in the September. I didn't want to wait till the January. All the REME slots were full. He went, what do you think about the artillery? I said, yeah, sounds possibly good. I spoke to my dad about it. I didn't know much about the army, to be honest. I always knew I wanted to join, but I didn't know much about it. And then basically there and then he's like, I've got the paperwork already sorted. You go in artillery, blah, blah, blah. Went artillery. So it never ended up in the Household Cavalry Regiment anyway. Later on in life, I pretty much accomplished everything I wanted to do within the Royal Artillery. I was lucky enough to be a section commander. I went on tours and ACK. Operational tours had died down. They weren't going on. And I loved reconnaissance. I loved that sort of sneaky beaky side. So I thought, why not just go over to the Household Cavalry Regiment now? It's something I always wanted to do. And the process for this, you have to put something in called a triple P. Can't remember exactly what it stands for, but we called it a triple P. And you can transfer between units. 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, it was unheard of. People did not transfer. It just did not happen. It's a lot more common now, but even when I did it, it wasn't as common. But people were transferring between units. So you put the triple P in, full application of where you're currently serving, where you want to go, and then you have to give a really good reason why. It's not guaranteed that they will ever accept you. So if you do want to transfer, it is definitely possible, but it's not guaranteed. So you have to put in your reasons why. What they will then do is they will look at your application. They will also most probably look at your last few years SJARs. They will speak to your current RCMO as well. And they will then call you down for an interview. Sometimes you have to go through a fitness test as well to see what your current fitness standards are. And they will basically assess you to see if you're good for the unit, to see if they want you. Apparently when I was talking to the RCMO at HCR, there was another guy going and he didn't make it. So he was trying to transfer into the Household Cavalry Regiment and he didn't make it. But I was lucky enough to be accepted. But yeah, you got to fill in the application form and yeah, give your reasons why And then this is why you need good SJARs. This is why you need to be a good bloke, because if you do want to transfer, honestly, it is not guaranteed. If you're getting really poor SJARs and you're asking to go to a different unit, they are not going to accept you. They're just going to look at your SJARs, speak to your RCMO and go, why would we take him on? He's not going to benefit this unit. But basically, I always wanted to go to the Household Cavalry Regiment. It was my number one choice. And just the thought of doing reconnaissance really, really interested me. And if you actually look at the Household Cavalry Regiment, they've got a wide variety of expertise. People just think back then it was CVRT, armoured reconnaissance, plus also dismounted as well. They did go in on foot, subsurface OPs, etc. But they've also got sort of fire support, the javelin. They've got snipers. And then obviously the other standard stuff, sort of your motor transport stores, the logistical side as well. And they've also got drone department now as they expand. So there was a wide variety of expertise that really sort of interested me. Plus, even though I didn't want to go ceremonial first when I was younger, and I am not the biggest fan of horses, the thought of going down the Mall on horseback, supporting, back then it was the Queen, Her Majesty, really, really did interest me as well. But when I got to the unit, I never actually went across to the ceremonial side because it didn't interest me as much. But while I was in the unit, I really enjoyed the reconnaissance side. It was sort of the armoured side that got to me, because I was in a light role unit for the majority of my career, all my career before I transferred. I sort of struggled transitioning across to the armoured side. If I could have stayed reconnaissance, subsurface OPs, doing your patrols, doing CTRs, etc., I think I would have absolutely loved it. I think the fact we did a lot of armoured stuff and I didn't like working on vehicles most probably brought early termination to my career, basically. Really loved it. But just the armoured side, not so much. If you love vehicles, then you're going to love the unit. Some of the best soldiers I've ever worked with serve in the Household Cavalry Regiment. Honestly, absolute brilliant guys and an absolute brilliant unit. Also, back then when I transferred, even though they did tell me in the interview, was location. They were currently serving in Windsor, right in the centre of town pretty much. They had been there for like 200 years. It was a really small camp, close-knit, one unit, absolutely brilliant, really interested me as well. Location can obviously play a massive part. Sadly, obviously, we moved down to Bulford because of the new Ajax variants coming in. There was no way the Ajax was going to fit into Combermere Barracks in Windsor. So we moved down to Bulford. Location, not so bad. Not something I would recommend personally, but if you join an army, you end up there. It is what it is. You don't always get the location that you want. But yes, that's just why I transferred. I completed everything I wanted to do. The Royal Artillery was never actually on my list. I just happened to be in there because the Armed Forces career soldier basically twisted my arm, already had the paperwork sorted after I completed the assessment, and got me into the Royal Artillery. I went through phase 1 and I ended up just sticking with it. Went through phase 2. I never transferred while in phase 1 like he said I possibly could have. Went through phase 2, actually got to 7. Really wanted to pass B company, really wanted to be an airborne soldier. Got put in the FSTs, absolutely loved it. But felt like I really had that itch to join the Household Cavalry Regiment because it's something I always wanted to do. I really wanted to do the reconnaissance side. And that's why I did it. And obviously being FSTs within the artillery and coming from that background, working, in OPs, gathering intelligence, doing fire support, it transitioned across over to the Household Cavalry Regiment. Would I recommend? Yes. I recommend both units. They're both absolutely great units. Both have great soldiers, and different in their own ways. But two very good units that I highly recommend you checking out. But the full process, if you really want to transfer, go and speak to your RCMO, speak to your chain of command first. Say it's looking at something that I really want to do. You go and speak to your RCMO. You have that interview. You fill in that triple P. Have a real good reason of why you want to transfer. Because if you don't have a good reason, they won't accept you. Make sure you're a good bloke. You're getting good SJARs. You're doing what's needed to be done. You're a smart looking soldier. You're fit. You maintain the standards, and it's very likely that they will accept you. But it is not guaranteed. Okay, it is not guaranteed. So that is what it is. But thank you for watching this short video on why I transferred and the process of how you could possibly transfer if you are currently serving or looking to join the military. Thank you for watching. Do remember to head over to combatreadyhq.co.uk, check out our merch, coffee and our thermal tumblers, and I'll see you soon.